everyone, and welcome back to That Set. Why people don't accept or embrace the truth? Why telling the truth is a hard thing for people to believe, but they can accept the lies. They can accept people being deceitful and not forthcoming. Why people rather believe the lies opposed to the truth. And when you tell the truth, it's a conspiracy. Oh, it's in your head, or you're just thinking too much, or you're going crazy. Why people can't handle the truth, especially if it's factual truth. Now, I know everyone's seen this movie with Tom Cruise and Jack Nicholson, which those are Jack Nicholson, I really love, good actor, of A Few Good Men. And when Tom Cruise's character, asked Jack Nicholson on the stand about what happened to the two army men that were killed, he was pressing them. So I just want to show you a little clipping of that because it seems like some people just can't handle the truth when the truth is given to them. So take a listen to this clipping. Wrong one. Sorry, guys.
I think I'm entitled. You want answers. I want the truth. You can't handle the truth.
Right? People cannot handle the truth. And that is a great clipping for me to share to you guys. So let's get right to it and welcome back everyone to That's It. All right, you guys. So I don't even know where to begin, but I'm going to start that. I had a good week last week. I went on a friend of mine podcast called Sam's World, and he's on TikTok too. His TikTok name is Secret Service Sam. Check him out. He is so funny. He's a comedian. He lives in LA, and he's hysterical. He's very funny, and I just want to say thank you so much, Sam, for having me on your podcast. Sam World was very interesting. It was good. I was live on his podcast, and I have to say, I'm going to be quite honest, which I didn't tell him. I was like very, very nervous because it was my very first time going live on someone else's podcast because a lot of people, a lot of viewers, watch him and they're going to be seeing me for the first time. They don't even know who I am. But so I was a little nervous. I'm not going to lie, but I kept it together, hopefully. So definitely check it out on his podcast, YouTube. I believe he's on YouTube, TikTok, Twitch, not Twitch. I don't even know. I don't know all the social media brand, Facebook, Instagram. So definitely check it out. I was on his podcast. It was very interesting. So how I met him, I follow him a little bit on TikTok, and what really what I really noticed about him, I was doing the whole Sean Diddy trial and everything. That two gentlemen went to his house and tried to ask him questions because I guess he did a dig or a joke, which was very funny, by the way. Which I wish I would have had the clipping of it so I can share it with you guys. But you can definitely check it out on his TikTok page. That he made a joke about Diddy. And I guess apparently Diddy hired these two private detectives or whatever to come to his home. Basically, they were going to different influencers' home to see what they know about the circumstances of Sean Diddy Combs. So they went to his home and they were asking him questions, and he recorded it and stuff like that because that's very terrifying for some two strange men to come in your home and you don't even know them, and then they're asking like weird, mysterious questions. And he recorded it. Good for him. And then I've been following him. And then when I went to New York to follow the Sean Diddy Combs trial, and I was waiting in line to get to the main courtroom, to sit in to, for the trial, I recognized him. I'm like, hey, are you this guy from TikTok? And he said, yes. And then instead of him waiting way in the back line, I had him cut through, and then he cut in front of me. And then we just started talking. And then we didn't go to the main courtroom. We went to the the other room of the courthouse, and then we just started, talking a little bit before they whole started the proceeding, and he was just cracking me up, and then we were writing notes and asking questions, and then next time we exchanged information with each other, and since then I've been following him on TikTok, and been amazing. He's been such a great guy, so nice and so funny, and he's been following the whole Diddy trial, like from start to finish. He's been traveling LA to New York, just covering the case, and kudos for him. I just covered the case like for 2 days, and I had to fly back to Orlando. But by him, going there, frequently, and I've been like touching base with him about the whole Sean Diddy Combs trial. So that's how we met and how we continued, keep in contact with each other if we know any information about things that's been going on in the world. So then he asked me if I wanted to come to his podcast. I'm like, sure, because we were talking about, Jimmy Kimmel through text messages on TikTok and about like other stuff, how I feel about the whole incident, what happened to Jimmy Kimmel, and how everyone's entitled of free speech, but not to the expense of a dead person. You know what I mean? So we were talking about it a little bit, and he said, you should just come on to my podcast. I'm like, sure. And talk about it, which we did. We talked about that. We talked about George Floyd. We talked about what happened to Charlie Kirk. We talked about different, varieties of topics. And then I had to say with Jimmy Kimmel, I don't watch him late nights. I really don't, because I'm at bed at a certain time. But I feel like, and I told Sam that workers should be disciplined of the comments that they say, and it depends on the comment. Everyone has free speech. Everyone should say what they want to say, especially if you're a comedian or whoever. However, it doesn't mean that you should say things that's very hurtful and disrespectful, especially someone that just got assassinated and got shot on the neck. You know what I mean? And it's just very distasteful. You can joke around about Trump and stuff like that, whatever. But what my husband told me, which I wanted to tell Sam, but we were live, and my husband was like saying, like, just put it on mute. And I'm like, I couldn't say anything to my husband because I'm like, I'm on live, I can't put it on mute, which my husband didn't know. But after I was wrapping up with Sam on his podcast, my husband told me it's not even about the comment that he made. Basically, ABC wanted to cut ties with Jimmy Kendall. Campbell. Am I saying it right, Apollo? I am so sorry. Apollo, he's, my dog, and, sometimes he likes to charm in and, watch what I'm doing. Jimmy Kimmel, excuse me. And basically, his contract was running out, and I guess the corporate, the business people, the aspects, because basically NBC is incorporated with Walt Disney. You know what I mean? So basically, what my husband was telling me that they wanted to cut ties. They didn't want to renew his contract. And basically, my husband was like telling me, he gets paid $16 million a year. That's a lot of freaking money. So he is going to be okay whether he keeps his job or not, whether he apologizes or not. He is going to be okay. And I know a lot of people are outraged and upset, and they were protesting in front of the ABC building. The man is going to be okay. $16 million per year, he's going to be fine. But anyway, I think that when he said that comment, that just gave the company, the CEO, whatever, a good excuse to let him go. You know what I mean? They wanted him to make an apology. Maybe they knew that he was not going to apologize, and that was just an easy breezy for them. They don't have to pay him $16 million a year, and he's not going to apologize. Okay, so I feel like it's more to it than that. The ratings was very low, supposedly. He was not doing well with his ratings. And they're like saying, well, it makes no sense for us to keep paying you when the rating is not going the way it should be. So, caboose. And that's what happened. And what he said, it just put a tip to the iceberg for the CEO, for the people in the ABC to let him go. And, Trump criticized him, saying that, he was not doing well. He was not really good. You know what I mean? And it shouldn't be about the left or right. Again, we should not mock or make fun of someone that just died, and it's just really unmoral, and it's just not right. So that's what I was telling Sam and in his podcast about that. And then he said, and Sam is right as well. Everyone has a right to have free speech and have dark harmony. I get that. Jokes and stuff like that. When you're a comedian, you have to joke around and say that. I get that. But I think common sense is like, lower the temperature. When it comes to someone's husband that just passed, I think that you should put that aside. That's just my opinion about that. Also, we talked about, Charlie Kirk. I heard of him, but I didn't listen to a lot of his podcasts that he had, his show, but I did seen videos of him on TikTok and stuff like that. And then Sam asked me, like, what what made you resonate with Charlie Kirk? And I said, because, and I told him, one, he was a faithful man. He was a man of God. Two, he loved his wife. He loved his children. He loved his country. He was very passionate and devoted what he was doing and what he was led to do since the age of 18. He did not go to college, and he had a vision, and I believe that God gave him a vision for him to do what he was born to do. And also, what resonated with me with Charlie Kirk, and I was telling Sam that he went to a podcast with these two gentlemen, which I don't know the name of the two gentlemen that interviewed Charlie Kirk, but what really resonated with me when Charlie Kirk said men should pay on the first date. And I'm like, yeah, they should. And I'm like, wow, because dating these days is not how it is back in the days. Men should pay on the first date. And then one of the gentlemen that was interviewing Charlie Kirk, well, what if it's only a one date and that's it? Charlie Kirk said, no, I don't care. Men should pay. And I agree with him. Men should pay on the first date. And I think I spoke about this on my past video. I'm not saying men should go all out and go crazy, but yes, men should pick up the check and pay on the first date. Whether if it's you go to see that person or not, it's just a common thing to do and the right thing to do. Also, what really resonated with me about Charlie Kirk saying, save yourself for marriage, don't have sex before marriage, because I feel like, sex complicates things, and it's really true. I'm not perfect myself, and I just feel like when you save yourself for your husband or for your wife, there's no complication, there's no issues, you know what I mean? You married, intimate with your husband or your wife, then you start a family and stuff like that. So things that he said really resonated with me, and it makes sense. That I like the stuff that he was, telling young college students and talking about like different varieties of topics, which some of it I do agree with. Like, for example, abortions. I'm pro-life. I don't believe in women having abortion unless it comes to a circumstances. When it comes to abortions, if it's like incest, if a father is raping their daughter and they end up pregnant, or there's any health issues, I feel like, in my opinion, that's the exception to abort a child. I know I might get flack of that, but that's just what I stance on that. But just to have an abortion because you messed up, or you forgot to take the morning after pill, or you forgot to take birth control, which that's another different topic about birth control, which I will talk about later on in the near future. I don't feel like you should kill a life, because it is a life. And for me, I was fooled by people when I was younger, because I was told, it's not a human, it's just a cell, just a clump of cell. It's nothing. So if you do end up getting pregnant by accident, you can just abort it. And I believe that. I believe what people were telling me. And, for me, I got pregnant at a young age. I got pregnant at 19. And the things that I was told by Planned Parenthood and by, clinics and stuff like that, that you're not killing a life, you're not hurting a life. And how I was deceived and misguided, and I end up ending the pregnancy. I terminated the pregnancy for a lot of reasons. One, because what I was told, and to be quite honest with you, I wasn't ready to become a young mom. And this is so important to wait until marriage. I had sex with this guy that I was not in a relationship with, and just the guy that I knew that I hooked up with, not saying that they are a racist family, but it just wouldn't work. You know what I mean? It would just be convenient for this guy to be there for a father, and we would even be a couple. That was my mindset at the time. And on top of that, I was living with my parents. I didn't want to feel the shame, the embarrassment that 19 years old, not married, still trying to figure out my life, because at 19 I was just figuring things out. And I didn't want that shame from my family, from my friends, not my friends per se, because I know my friends would support me, my sisters. I didn't want to be an embarrassment for them. So on top of that, I was not even ready, to be honest with you. I was not ready, and I terminated the pregnancy, and that was the only time I got pregnant. And I vow to myself, and especially to God, that I will never, ever do that again. And I kept my promise to him, and I never had a scare pregnancy. I was definitely responsible, and I didn't do that anymore because I was just terrified what God was saying and the wrath of Him, and how I was misled of informations about, abortions and stuff like that. But anyway, not about me. But that's what really resonated with me about Charlie Kirk and how conservative he was and everything. So what happened to him was so tragic. It was just so wrong, and that's what I was telling Sam on his show, that it was just not right. And for people to make fun of his death and mocking him, yeah, you should be expelled. Yes, you should be fired, because why would anyone want to work with someone that celebrates someone's death? To me, that's deranged. You're unhinged. Because if you can celebrate someone who just got shot like that, you're not normal. And that's what I told Sam. You're not normal. And I was so passionate about it, which I still am, because that's not normal to do. If you're going to celebrate someone's death, do it in the privacy of your home. Why even do it in a public setting? Why put it on social media? Why step on, Charlie Kirk's what people are doing for him, like the flowers and the cards and the pictures? Why do all that? Why be disrespectful? Why? It's unhumane. Who raised you to be like that? That's why, if my husband we ever have children, I will not put my children in public school or private school, because I do not want my children to learn examples from these crazy people that it's okay to celebrate someone's death. No, my children will be homeschooled, because it's not even safe in schools, in public schools, what they're teaching these kids and college students too. It's just ridiculous. It's just ridiculous, and that's what I was telling Sam. Also, we talked about George Floyd, and I was hoping the next time that I was going to go on this show to clarify some stuff, because I said a few things that I don't, and again, this is just a feeling that I'm getting, that maybe not made him feel uncomfortable. Maybe his viewers felt uncomfortable. They didn't agree on what I was saying. I just wanted to clarify that. Again, those are my opinions, and this is where I stand in regards to George Floyd. And I wanted to clarify on his show, because I thought I was going to be on his show the next day, but apparently he didn't. He didn't link up with me, and he didn't give me the link. Maybe he was busy. That's fine. So hopefully in the near future, that if I do go on this show, that I can clarify what I was talking about with George Floyd. And I'm going to clarify it here on my YouTube channel. So I was telling Sam about George Floyd. Listen, with the whole BLM movement, I was all for it. Okay, after watching the footage of George Floyd being choked to death by Derek, I can't remember his name, the police officer, Derek Schumann or Shaw, I can't pronounce his last name, but you know who I'm talking about, the police officer. When I saw the footage of him, Derek, had his knee on George Floyd's neck, I'm like, what is going on? How can a police officer do that to this man when he's repeatedly saying, I can't breathe, I can't breathe, I can't breathe, okay? And he's screaming for his mom, mama, mama. You know what I mean? How can a human being can do that when this man was put on restraints on the ground and his knee was on this man's neck, a black man's neck? I was outraged. I was pissed. And this was filmed. And it was on the news too. I'm not gonna lie, I was pissed off. I'm like, this is crazy that a police officer would actually do that and enjoy doing it, and they didn't have a care in the world. And this man saying he cannot breathe. I fell for the narrative. I'm not gonna lie to you. I fell for that narrative. Come to my surprise, when I actually watched the whole footage, because they showed one side of it, and I'm meaning the mainstream media, because they're so good at lying and they're so good at portraying what we want to see instead of showing the full picture, because they know how to do the narrative. So when I saw the whole footage of what happened to George Floyd, when Derek had his knee, I thought it was on his neck. It was actually on his shoulder blade. Okay, because there was another footage of another person took a video of the other side of the angle, and his knee was actually on his shoulder blade opposed to his neck. Okay, that's one. Two, when he said he can't breathe, well, come to my surprise, which I didn't know about this, which the mainstream media failed to tell the people, because they wanted to get these black people hyped up because they know that Black America, they don't like cops. They can't stand cops, okay? Especially things that's been going on with, police brutality, how police officers are racist towards Black people. They knew this, but they ran with the narrative instead of telling the truth. Now, and I fell for it, okay? I'm going to be quite honest with you. I fell for it, and it was a shame. It was a tragedy, but you learn. I learned. I opened my eyes. I did my investigation, and I finally got the truth. What really happened? This man had drugs in his system. Okay, first of all, he went to the convenience store, had a $20 counterfeit. Okay, no big deal. The manager said the money is fake. All he could have done is left, but no, he went back to his car with his drug dealer, came back to the store, try to buy a pack of cigarettes or some gum, whatever. Then the manager called the police. Okay, now I just want to be clear here. Okay, if I was a drug dealer, okay, and I had a record and I've been arrested and I'm on parole, and the police arrived to the convenience store, you would think you would act cool and collect and not be, what's the word? Apollo, give me, what's that word? That you're not, I wouldn't say surprised, that you would just be cool. You know what I mean? You just don't show any impression that you have something on you, if that makes sense. I can't think of the word in my head. You would just be cool, relax, stay calm. Don't act suspicious, basically. And it seemed like he just got so nervous and freaked out. And then the cops asked him, "Why are you getting so nervous? Why are you getting so jittery and jumping around?" You know what I mean? Think about it. If I was a criminal, I would be cool and calm like a cucumber. Okay, I would not get any. I would not let anything make me nervous. So it seemed like George Floyd was nervous. Why? Because he had drugs in his possession. So just imagine if the cops searched his car and found drugs in his possession, he will go back to jail because remember, he was on probation. Okay? So what did he do? He took 11 milliliter of fentanyl, okay? The size of a horse, that drug, okay? So just imagine taking that and all the other drugs that are in his system. It can do a lot of damage to your heart. It can pump your heart to like miles per hour, okay? So when he did that, because he didn't want the cop to search him, the cop wanted to bring him in the car, to their car, he didn't want to go. He kept resisting, resisting, resisting. When you keep resisting, resisting, then the cop is going to arrest you because you keep resisting and you're acting funny. Okay? Then they put him down. Then you know the rest what really happened. So what I'm saying here, and I just want to be very clear, he shouldn't have died, period. I believe that the cop, Derek, did not kill him. The drugs killed him. Okay? He had a lot of drugs in his system. The drugs killed him, not the police officer. Because when I saw the footage, his knee was not on his neck, it was on his shoulder blade. And again, the mainstream media paint out a picture that this cop killed George Floyd, and that did not happen. And when that video leaked out to the world, what do you expect Black America to do? They were outraged. They were pissed. They said another Black man got killed by a police officer. And everyone told him to stop, get your knee out of his neck, supposedly, and he still continued to do it. Okay, so yeah, what do you expect? People were outraged. People were pissed. People were protesting, which I'm all about free and safety protest. But then it started to get violent. It started to get ugly that they're burning police officers' departments. They're burning Wendy's. They're burning out cars. They're vandalizing and looting mom and pop shop. What that have to do with George Floyd? And then the whole Black movement started all this and raising money. Black America giving them money for their activists, for their stance, Black Lives Matters and stuff like that, when all lives should matter, whether you're Black, Hispanic, Asian, doesn't matter. All lives matter. And again, like I said, I fell for that narrative. I did. I had the mask of Black Lives Matters. I wanted to protest, but again, it was during the whole COVID thing, so I didn't protest, but I was very supportive of the cause. I was very supportive of Black Lives Matters. But come to shock me, excuse me, when I print out their tax records, where the money went? Where did the actual money went? I thought it went to the people. No, it went to their pockets. It went to their lavages homes and stuff like that, to the trans community, all that stuff. It didn't really go to the black people. So all of it was a facade and all of it was fraud to me, fraudulent. Okay? And then they built a statue for this man like he is some messiah, like he is Jesus, when actually he is a criminal. Okay? And this is what I wanted to share and make it very clear to Sam because I just said just the tip of an iceberg what I wanted to say, and I just wanted to clarify it again. I don't wish George Floyd to die. He's dead, but they painted out to be like he was some saint when he wasn't a saint. He was a drug dealer. He broke into a woman's home who was pregnant, had a knife on her belly and everything. He assaulted her. He was not a really good person. And people painted out to be that he was some great person, that he was trying to change his life and doing this. No, he wasn't. Okay? Everyone was fooled by this. And I'm just like, I'm sick and tired of people saying like he was just such a good person and he did this. No, he didn't. He was a criminal. And that's a fact. Okay? You can look at his police report. He was a criminal, but they have a statue of him like he was a messiah of Jesus, which he is not. And that's what I said to Sam, not the whole, what I'm saying to you guys. I just told Sam part and pieces of how I felt about George Floyd, but the whole, looting and the riot, what that had to do with him? What that had to do with him? Destroying mom and pop shops. They didn't do anything to George Floyd, trying to defund the police. It was just crazy at those times. It really was. And that had nothing to do with the mom and pop shops and the businesses. So why loot them and destroy their businesses that they worked so hard for that it can never be recovered again? It didn't make any sense to me. So that's why I wanted to clarify with Sam. You know what I mean? Because again, the mainstream media, they knew what they were doing and they did it. They didn't tell the truth. They like to lie and spin their own narrative just to hype Black America up, which they did, and look what happened. Look what happened. And it's just ridiculous. That's why it's just unfortunate that happened, and it should not have happened. If they would have just told the truth, I believe half the stuff wouldn't have happened. That's just my opinion. And that's my take on that. And I just wanted to clarify that with Sam. And then the next time, if I do get the opportunity to go back on his podcast, I want to clarify that, so his viewers would know that I didn't wish him dead. It was unfortunate, but he was a drug dealer. He was a criminal, and it was sad and unfortunate what happened to him. But he had drugs in his system. Point blank. Period. Moving on. Now I want to talk about Candace Owens. Okay, a lot of talk about Candace Owens, and I just don't know. What's the big deal? Like, what's the problem, people? Like, please make it sense to me. What is the problem that you have this woman who just wants the truth? I want the truth. I'm even doing my own research and my own investigation because what the officials are saying doesn't make any sense. And I spoke about this on my video, and it doesn't make any sense. So you have Candace Owens, who is very good with her research, extensive research, okay? She doesn't stop, okay? She wants to get to the bottom of what happened to Charlie Kirk, just like all of us do. We don't want half-ass, okay? So if they're not going to do their job, then let Candace Owens do it. But everyone's saying she's crazy, she's insane, she's in a rabbit hole. Why do you care? Or she's doing this to get ratings and stuff like that. Well, you guys are talking about it too. If you don't really care what she's doing and what she's saying, then why even put it on your show? Because you want to get ratings too. You want to get viewers. So people are saying, oh, she's saying all these crazy things about Charlie Kirk. It's not making sense. And she's not friends with Charlie Kirk. And why do you care? What business is yours if she is friends with him or not? Why do you care? How do you know they're not? How do you know that we're not in communication through text? You don't know that. I don't know that. You're just making assumptions. These people are making assumptions of Candace Owens. Oh, she was never friends with Charlie Kirk. She's showing past old videos and pictures. And again, what that have to do with her investigation? Want to know the truth about what happened to her friend? Listen, if I, that's a good friend, because God forbid if something happened to me, I would think I want my friends to find out what the hell happened to me in my death, to go hell and water to find out what happened to me. And that's what Candace is doing, because no one else is doing it. So she's trying to put pieces together with her timeline and everything, because what the officials are saying is not making any sense. And they're not. And a lot of people are backing Candace up, including me. I'm not crazy, because I'm doing my research too. So what Candace is doing, I'm doing exactly what she's doing too. I'm following the timeline, I'm following the evidence, and I'm looking at everything what has happened, because especially with the officials too. And that's why I wanted to wait before I open my big fat mouth and say anything that would make me sound stupid or an idiot. I wanted to wait what the officials were saying, and what they did, they said what they said. It didn't line up of my suspicions. It didn't. Like I said, there are more than one person involved in Charlie Kirk shooting. Okay, let's just make that clear. There is nothing what the officials say making sense. And that's what all Candace is doing. Don't you want to know what really happened to Charlie Kirk? Why no one doesn't want to? Don't know what? I don't understand this, Apollo. Why no one doesn't want to know the truth? Why is that? Why people can't handle the truth? They just want lies. They just want lies, and they just want to believe a narrative what the official is saying. If it's not making sense, then why not ask the questions? Again, no one doesn't want to ask questions. They just want to say, okay, this is what the officials are saying, so we're just going to believe their narrative, and that's it, case closed. No, we shouldn't. We should be asking questions if things don't make sense. I don't understand. And things didn't make sense to me. That's why I jot things down. That's why I ask other people too to get their perspective. And that's what all Candace is always doing. She's trying to get answers. She's trying to get to the bottom of the truth. And everyone's saying she's insane. She's crazy. She's despicable. She's this and that. Who gives a shit? She doesn't. Good for her. She keep going. She don't care what you say. So keep putting it on your YouTube channel, your podcast. She doesn't care. But apparently you people care, because you're talking about it on your show. You giving her flack, or she's getting all these viewers on her Twitter, and she's doing this for revenue and stuff like that. But aren't you doing the same thing? Because you're talking about Candace Owens about Charlie Kirk. So you're doing exactly the same thing. I don't get it. I don't get it. And I'm not knocking anyone for doing that. But don't judge her because she just wants the truth, what happened to her friend. Don't judge her and say that she's crazy and she's unhinged because she's trying to get the truth. Because a lot of things that she's saying, and I have been following her, makes more sense than the rest of these people. Okay? Like, make it make sense. And everyone's trying to distract her, say she don't give a shit. Good for her. She don't. Okay? She got God on her side. God is helping her. She is wearing the full armor. She don't care. She is going to get to the bottom of the truth and nothing but the truth. Okay. I just don't get it. It's just so laughable. And people are saying, is she's going to go? Is she going to come? Is she going to attend Charlie Kirk's funeral? Is she's going to come? Is she's going to show? Why do you care? You should be focused on the memory of Charlie Kirk. Who gives a flying F if Candace Owens goes or not? Who cares? Why are you worrying about if she's going or not? People are so focused and worried about if she's going to go or not. Who cares? You should be focusing on the memory of Charlie Kirk, the remembrance of him, how he was a good man, a good husband, a good father, a good friend, a faithful God servant. That's what you should be focused on. The memories of Charlie Kirk. Not if Candace Owens is going to show up or not. She will deal with her own grief at her own time and visit Charlie Kirk when it's ready for her. At this moment, she doesn't want a whole spectacle, because that's what it in her mind. I don't want to put words in her mouth. That's the impression that I'm getting. So leave it alone if she comes or not. So what? Stop worrying about what she's doing, the next move she's making. We should be focused on what really happened to Charlie Kirk. That's what we should be caring about. Not what Candace Owens saying, because to me, she's making a whole lot of sense. Okay. I want to share to you this TikTok video of this guy. I don't know his name, but he is making sense. And he is supporting Candace Owens like I am and like some people are. And people are going to comment, and a lot of people are commenting that she's crazy, she's unhinged, she had no business saying what she's saying. She should have waited until Charlie Kirk was buried. A lot of people are supportive. A lot of people have their opinions, which is fine. But I agree with this guy, and you need to take a listen to what he has to say.
Give, and she is going to get to the bottom of who killed Charlie Kirk. And she must be onto something, because the onslaught today of everybody all over, like, oh, all the talking heads, Candace is crazy and she doesn't know what she's talking about. And then they go on to lie about her, that she doesn't know Charlie and she's not talked to Charlie. Today, her live, you got to go watch her lives. She is blowing holes in the Fed story, dropping receipts. Candace came up with Charlie. They came from nothing together. Like, they were like this. She's got all the receipts. Everybody who's followed them, that we all know this. We all know this. And like, and everybody's, it's all about this Israel connection. That's what Candace is pulling on, and that's what they are all terrified of. Bibi Netanyahu, he's out there twice today saying, I didn't kill Charlie Kirk. Well, that's fucking weird, because nobody said Bibi Netanyahu killed Charlie Kirk. So there's zero reason. Bibi Netanyahu right now, he is the only person in the entire world that has come out and made a statement, I didn't kill Charlie Kirk.
Pause. Why is that, you think? Because no one didn't accuse him. No one didn't say anything. And I just want to pull this down. No one didn't accuse him. So why even go again on live television where you should be focusing your country to end this war? No one didn't accuse. Candace Owens didn't even say that. If you go back to her video, she never said that. She said there's no evidence of that. I just don't understand why people twist other people's words. People tend not to listen. That's the problem. They want to hear what they want to hear. They don't want to hear the truth. That's what it is. Despite how you feel about this woman or anyone else, just listen. Just listen. And no one doesn't want to listen. She never said that, okay? She made it very clear in her words. There's no evidence that the Israel government had anything to do with Charlie Kirk assassination, okay? She made it very clear. I don't believe that either. There's no evidence of that. So there's no make no sense. But why would he say that, okay? Why would he go on Fox News and do an interview saying that Charlie Kirk wrote this letter, which he did, and he was pro-Israel and stuff like that, the two sentences that Candace Owens said? Why would you say that? The man just got shot. Why would you say that? The right thing, the normal thing a person would do as a prime minister would say, I am so sorry for the Kirk's family, what happened. My condolences to the Kirk's family. I am so sorry. That's it. Wrap it up. But no, he kept going more and more. So it doesn't make any sense. And it just seemed like that he seems very guilty. And it is not making any sense why you said it. But let me continue hear what this man has to say.
No shit. Nobody thinks you picked up a gun and shot Charlie Kirk, you fucking evil bastard. Like, but we know you probably fucking paid somebody for it. They were all pressuring him. You don't need to listen to somebody else right now hear what Charlie Kirk thought about Israel. For the last month, you can go watch and hear what Charlie Kirk thought about Israel. Go watch him on Megyn Kelly. Go watch him on Tucker. Watch him on the PBD podcast. Watch him on his own show. And he will say it all time and time again. And here's the biggest tell. Do you know what happened the same day that they killed Charlie Kirk? They fucking shut down the vote to release all the Epstein files. What had Charlie been saying? Epstein was an agent of Mossad. You can go hear Charlie say it in his own words. He'd been saying it for the last fucking month. They were pulling donors from him. The fucking Israeli donors that donated to Turning Point had been pulling out their money and even writing him letters. Candace dropped those receipts, millions of dollars, pulling it out because they didn't like that Charlie had Dave Smith and Tucker Carlson asking questions about Israel.
There you go. There you go. And he has said that, Charlie Kirk. I watched it on Megyn's show, Megyn Kelly, Charlie Kirk's show. I have heard him say that many times. So Candace Owens not lying. You heard it from Charlie Kirk's mouth before he died. Okay? It's like when you talk about Israel or the Israelis, it's a big issue. I don't understand why. I don't understand why. And they're trying to take away our free speech. Again, why do Israel or have anything to do with us? We're American. This is the United States. I don't understand why they're asserting their self with us, trying to stop free speech and stuff like that. Even if we talk about the Israelis or the Israel, like they're going to try to shut us down or try, it's just crazy. It's just crazy to me. Like we have to take their stance. No, no. So you heard it. Candace always had receipts. Okay. I don't understand what's the issue. What's the problem? Anyway, I want you to listen to Minister Beebe and what he has to say about the whole incident.
Joseph Goebbels, the Nazi propaganda minister, said that the bigger the lie, the faster it will spread. Well, somebody has fabricated a monstrous big lie that Israel had something to do with Charlie Kirk's horrific murder. This is insane. It is false. It is outrageous. Charlie Kirk was a giant, a once-in-a-century talent who defended freedom, defended America, defended our common Judeo-Christian civilization. Charlie loved Israel. He loved the Jewish people. He told me so in a letter that he sent me just a few months ago. One of my greatest joys as a Christian, he said, is advocating for Israel and forming alliances with Jews to protect Judeo-Christian civilization. He encouraged me to make the case directly to the American people about how vital Israel is to U.S. national security.
Okay, pause. I can't even look at him because he looks possessed and evil. He needs prayer. I'm going to pray for him. So, my opinion about that, why would you say that? No one's not accusing you. Just like that gentleman said, just like Candace Owens said, just like I'm saying, no one's not accusing. So it seemed like you seem a little guilty to me. It seemed like you seem like very suspect because no one's not saying that. Okay, no one's not saying that you didn't Charlie Kirk didn't write that letter. He apparently did wrote that letter to you, but he had a different stance. He had a different stance about Israel and how Israel is trying to insert themselves to our U.S. government. Why? Why is that? He had questions, and he turned him down. Charlie Kirk turned Prime Minister down to go over there because he had a different stance, and he knew about this. But again, he's not telling the whole truth. That's why I don't believe half the things this man says because he's a liar. And I'm not criticizing the Jewish people because I love Jewish people. I'm criticizing the government of Israel because they seem very shady to me. They seem like they have too much not certain. They insert themselves too much in our country, okay, in our state. They have no business doing that. They should be worrying about their country, and then we should take care of our own. And he keeps inserting himself about things that they should do with our country when they're not. And I don't like that. I don't like that at all. Apollo, cut that out. Sorry, who's doing that? Distracting me. Anyway, yeah. So it doesn't make any sense, and that's what I believe that what Charlie Kirk was sensing about that they keep inserting themselves and trying to get involved in our business and stuff like that. And he was trying. I believe he was having a different perspective. That's all. You know what I mean? Because why turn down going to Israel? You know what I mean? And Prime Minister Bibi, he knew that. And why even go again to do an interview? Why? Why even do that? Just say my condolences. I'm sorry for the Kirks, losing, Charlie Kirk, and that's it. But it seemed like he was trying to paint this narrative that he's the good guy and he loved Charlie Kirk and they're both best friends. Boy, bye. I'm not falling for it. I'm not believing any word that man is saying because he is not a good person at all. He doesn't care about his people. He really don't. It's all about win, 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 kill, 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 money, 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 and just to wipe out Gaza so he can do genocide and build some buildings. Okay, some resorts. Yeah, I did say it because I don't trust the government over there. I really don't. It's all corrupt. It's all shady to me. No, I really don't. But before I go, you guys, I just want you to take a listen to what Candace Owens had to say about BB's interview and he, what she had to say about his comment. Take a listen.
I don't know who specifically came out and said that BB killed Charlie Kirk, but now that he's for the second time denying that he is, people are going, what's actually going on here?
Joseph Goebbels, the Nazi propaganda minister, said that the bigger the lie, the faster it will spread. Well, somebody has fabricated a monstrous big lie that Israel had something to do with Charlie Kirk's horrific murder. This is insane. It is false. It is outrageous. Charlie Kirk was a giant, a once-in-a-century talent who defended freedom, defended America, defended our common Judeo-Christian civilization. Charlie loved Israel. He loved the Jewish people. He told me so in a letter that he sent me just a few months ago. One of my greatest joys as a Christian, he said, is advocating for Israel and forming alliances with Jews to protect Judeo-Christian civilization. He encouraged me to make the case directly to the American people about how vital Israel is to U.S. national security. He told me, the Holy Land is so important to my life, it pains me to see support for Israel slip away. Now, if Charlie disagreed with a policy of mine or a decision here and there, not only did I not mind, I welcomed it. This is the essence of Charlie. This is the essence of a free country. It's exactly what Charlie stood for. And I knew that his suggestions always came from the heart, from his love for Israel and from his love for the Jewish people. A few weeks before his death, I spoke to Charlie. I invited him to visit Israel again. And sadly, that won't happen.
Yeah,
now some are peddling these disgusting rumors, perhaps out of obsession, perhaps with Qatari funding. What I do know is this. Charlie Kirk was a great man, and a great man deserves honor, not lies. Rest in peace, Charlie Kirk. May your memory be a blessing.
I don't know, guys. That Israeli propaganda just ain't hitting the same. You're not making people feel comfortable with the fact that you keep coming out to have to deny something that certainly wasn't asserted by me on this program.
I agree.
And you're doubling down on your lie. I told you to publish the full letter that Charlie wrote you, not lines of it. Okay? It's a lie by omission. And to stop mentioning the fact that you invited him to Israel just 2 weeks ago without mentioning the fact that he declined to go. Am I lying? Can anybody actually work and assert that I am lying? You can say my name. Candace Owens lied. Charlie said I'd love to go to Israel. Charlie said I'd love to have you on my radio show. They have sent the hounds out, but they're unable to actually dispute the words that are coming out of my mouth.
See what I'm saying? Lies. I'm telling you, lies about mission, like Candace Owens says. What is Candace doing? She's telling the truth, and she has receipts to back it up. Where's all the people that have receipts? If you're telling the truth, right, you will present receipts. If Prime Minister Bibi's saying the truth, release the letter entirety. Release the letter that Charlie Kirk wrote to you, and let us read it. Let the whole world see it. You won't do it. You will see what I'm saying? If you have nothing to hide and truth is on your side, you will do it. That's the thing. People they love the power. They love gaslighting us and manipulating us. And then when people like Candace Owens and when other people tell the truth, they make it seem like you're the crazy one. You're not making sense. Everything that you say is a bunch of rubbish because you're telling the truth. That's what it is. When you lie, people feed on your lies. They believe you. And people are done. Okay? That's why I don't trust our government. I don't have any faith in our government because they tend to lie so much. They're not capable of telling the truth. I don't believe any word that Bibi Netanyahu have anything to say. I don't believe him. I don't trust him. I really don't. And I know some of his people feel the same way, but they can't say anything. Okay? I don't trust this man. He is a liar. He's a scam artist. There's something about him that I don't feel comfortable. Okay? Just to look in his eyes is just pure evil. There's no sincerity at all. This man don't even know what truth is because he's so deep and so dark he don't know. He can't even tell the difference between truth and a lie. Facts from fiction. When you're that deep and when you're that in the hole of darkness, it's very hard to come out of. It really is. Unless, you get down on your knees and you ask Jesus for forgiveness to help you and to relieve those demons out of you. Or someone to help you to relieve those demons out of you. Anyway, you guys, that's all I have to say about that. Thank you so much for watching. That's it. If you like this video, please, shoot a comment. Let me know your thoughts, what I just said about this whole Candace Owens things about Charlie Kirk. And take care. God bless. And let's just love one another and just be kind to one another, because we all should, what happened to Charlie Kirk, that we all should have the right to have free speech and have a right to voice our opinions, whether that person agrees with your differences or not, to come to a solution about any topics that you talk about and not have any hatred in our hearts, and just to listen to one another and debate respectfully, lovingly, patiently, and that's it. That's the whole point of having our First Amendment rights, to have freedom of speech and speak our mind and our opinion, and not feel like we're going to be threatened or killed by speaking our truth. Thank you so much, you guys, and I'll see you guys next time.